Welcome to the 30k channel. I'm your host David, and I've been joined by veteran Colin and his Alpha Legion. Good morning.
Welcome. Thanks.
And I've been joined by new upstart Phil and his White Scars.
Good morning.
Excellent. Now, this is the first game we've filmed with guests after nearly a year, which is absolutely amazing. And we've got a blistering game for you. Two fantastic armies. Gents, you've done an amazing job on these, both of you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
They look really cool. We've got lovely blue and a really nice cool red and white. So very visually stunning, I would say.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been good to have something to aim towards, actually, to get some painting done. I think sort of half the units I've got on the board were painted for this.
Wow. And this is your lockdown army, isn't it, Phil?
It is. So the Scars were started at the beginning of Lockdown 1, way back pretty much in March of last year.
Wow.
And since then, we've painted everything that you see in this game, plus Jinzar, Ebon Keshik, and a Contemptor.
Jeez. Tons.
And there's a lot more to come.
Is there? It's going to be expanded. It looks really cool. Now, these gents have had a really long journey from London this morning, traffic and all that sort of jazz, but we've got you here safe and sound. You're fed and watered and you're ready to go.
Indeed, yeah, ready for this mission.
Jet bikes are fueled.
Exactly. Spent some time at the petrol station. Now, this mission is a little bit wild, and my brain can't cope with all the information for this. So, Colin's going to tell us all about it.
Yeah, so today we're revisiting Chondax. So we're taking the first mission from the Chondax campaign in Book 8, Malevolence. And it's a really interesting mission because it starts with effectively the Alpha Legion and the White Scars meeting and having a parley like they're still buddies. And then everything kind of goes south from there. One of the unique bits of this mission is, as you'll see from the board, the warlords and any of their attached units need to begin in the center of the board. And then we did a roll-off just before the game started, and we reversed the order in which they sit. So my side is actually sitting closer to most of the White Scars now, my warlord and his assault squad, and the White Scars warlord and his Golden Keshik accompaniment are closer to mine.
Yeah.
Because they're still in the midst of this, are they friends, are they enemies? For the first turn, those two units are kind of immune from being attacked unless they do something proactive.
Yeah.
So if they decide to shoot something or charge something, then it's kind of gloves are off. But assuming that they don't, they've got a kind of degree of immunity, so they're not just sitting there waiting to be leaf blowered off the table, thankfully. So I look at my kind of 3-up save guys with an entire gun line behind them. One of the kind of victory points of this mission are it's a grudge match, effectively. The main aim is to kill that warlord unit and any attached units that starts in the center of the board. If you can do that, you'll score 5 victory points. If the warlord makes it to the end of the game, that you'll get 3 victory points for keeping him alive. There are points for killing things in the first turn, and there are the kind of standard slay the warlord as well as in there. So it's there's a lot of points up for grabs in this game. In addition to that, you've got the bit of the White Scars. If I could amazingly kill all of their bikes, which I think is unlikely, but you never know, then I'll score a victory point. Similarly, Alpha Legion standard martial hubris. There's another point up for grabs there if more of my units get killed. The other thing that can come into play, which is quite unusual but could still happen, we've got a Primus Medicae on the board. You can sometimes swing it because they've got the chance to do that, like kind of the glorious, I can't forget what it's called. There's a rule where they basically can save an infantry unit's gene seed and score you a victory point as well if they're a friendly unit. So lots of points up for grabs, very cagey match, a lot of maneuver.
A lot of reserves as well.
A lot of reserves, yeah. And one of the other
units have you got in outflank?
Yeah, good question. I've got quite a few. Some Seekers. I've got the new Alpha Legion Interruptors as my Cosla Hydra unit. Particularly effective against bikes, so they'll be pretty dangerous coming on from outflank. There's a tactical squad in there as well. And I think one of the big things in this will be the Seize roll as well. Yeah. So that the White Scars are rolling on a 4-up Seize thanks to their Warlord trait and also thanks to their Trigorian Brotherhood. So it's 50-50 as to who's going first in this game at the moment. Currently it's the Alpha Legion, but we shall see.
Yeah. And Phil, you've got a ton of firepower in your list, haven't you?
Yes, a lot of anti-infantry, a lot of heavy bolters and all the jet bikes. We've got the Kaisergan. We've got the Sky Seekers, which I think are their first appearance on the channel.
Yep.
The Golden Keshik themselves are no slouch as well, with their Scatterbolt launchers, which are all shred heavy flamers, essentially. And then we've got our 5-man plasma cannon, heavy jet bike squad. So we'll wait to see if they manage to get a shot off in this game.
Yeah,
or if they're jinking the whole time.
Yeah, it's going to be a really thrilling game. There's going to be a lot of to and fro, and the absolute maneuverability of the White Scars against the kind of outflanking shooting from the Alpha Legion is going to be really interesting. I think.
It is, yeah, and the obvious choice, the Seeker's going to come on at some point. They've got Combi Plasma. They've got to target that Golden Keshe squad, or target the Warlord and the squad that's with him. Sorry, is their kind of preferred enemy, because it really all rests on killing that squad.
Yeah.
So they've got the Primus, they've got to save. You know, they're not invulnerable to what the Seekers will do, but it's really all about that squad and killing that squad.
All right, we are going to move on to the armies, but first of all, there is a potential seize.
Yes.
Tell us all about it.
So 4 up for the White Scars to seize. It's an interesting game here, with the first turn being fearless and being also immune to damage.
Yeah.
So it'll be a question then of whether the boss and his jet bike squad decide to bomb it straight into the back of the Alpha Legion deployment zone, hole up, wait for turn 2,
Yeah.
and then just charge everything they can find. But they've got 3 Contemptors to contend with.
It's going to be a wild ride. Let's find out. We need a 4 up from the White Scars.
Right.
Go on.
No, 3.
Ooh.
First turn Alpha Legion.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
The Warlord for the White Scars is a Praetor equipped with Iron Halo, digital lasers, melter bombs, Paragon Blade, riding a Scimitar jet bike and accompanied by a Cyberhawk. Second HQ choice is a Librarian with Force Axe, 2 levels of Psychic Mastery. He knows the Prescient Psychic Power, and he knows Psychic Shriek. He's equipped with Melter Bombs, a Shamshir jet bike, a Combat Shield, and a Force Axe. Third HQ choice for the White Scars is a Primus Medicae, equipped with Melter Bombs, Power Axe, Shamshir jet bike, and Combat Shield. The only elite choice for the army is the Golden Keshig. There are 3 additional Golden Keshig riders, and the Sergeant has a Thunderhammer. First troop choice is a jet bike Sky Hunter Squadron. There are 2 additional jet bikes, a multi-melter. They're all upgraded to carry melter bombs, and there is a Sky Hunter Sergeant. The second troop choice is a jet bike Sky Hunter Squadron with 2 additional jet bikes, a multi-melter, melter bombs. One model is upgraded to be a Sky Hunter Sergeant, and he's equipped with a Power Fist. Third troop choice is a jet bike Sky Hunter Squadron. They're all equipped with melter bombs. The fourth troop choice is a jet bike Sky Seeker Squadron. They're all upgraded to be carrying heavy rotor cannons, and the Sergeant has a Lightning Claw. Fifth troop choice is a tactical squad. The Sergeant's armed with a Power Fist. They're transported in a Rhino, equipped with a multi-melter. The sixth troop choice is a 10-man assault squad. 2 members of the squad are equipped with power axes. The Sergeant has a power sword and is also equipped with melter bombs. First fast attack for the White Scars is a Javelin attack speeder, armed with multi-melter and 2 hunter-killer missiles. Second fast attack for the White Scars is a Kaisergan assault speeder. It comes as standard with an assault cannon and 2 Reaper autocannons. Third fast attack is a 5-man Falcon's Claw squad. They're all equipped with melter bombs, and they come as standard with recon armour, Camellia line and lightning claws. The only heavy support choice for the White Scars is a jet bike Sky Slayer squadron. There are 2 additional jet bikes. They're all equipped with plasma cannons, and one has been upgraded to be a Sky Slayer Sergeant.
The Alpha Legion Warlord is a Legion Praetor. He's equipped with a jump pack, a Paragon Blade, a Power Dagger, and a Iron Halo. Alpha Legion's second HQ choice is a Legion Mortificator. He's armed with a Charnable Saber, a Refractor Field, a Servo Arm, a Combi Plasma, and a Corposant Stave. He is accompanied by 3 Quartus Contemptor Dreadnoughts, and they're all identically armed. They have Kerry's assault cannons, Dreadnought close combat weapons with built-in bolters, and extra armor. Alpha Legion first elite's choice is the Coils of the Hydra Rewards of Treason unit, and it is a Alpha Legion Interruptors unit. They are armed with plasma burners and rad grenades, and the Sergeant is armed with a Power Dagger additionally. They are accompanied by a Legion Apothecary who is armed with a Power Dagger. The Sergeant is also equipped with a Phosphex Bomb. Alpha Legion's first troop choice is an Assault Squad. The Sergeant is equipped with a Power Fist and a Power Dagger. 2 of the troops are equipped with Power Axes, and they are accompanied by an apothecary with a jump pack, a power dagger, and a combi plasma. Alpha Legion, second troops choice, is a Legion tactical squad. The sergeant has a power fist and power dagger, and the squad is equipped with additional close combat weapons and a Legion Vexilla. Alpha Legion, third troops choice, is a Legion tactical squad. The sergeant has a power fist and power dagger. The squad has a Vexilla, and they are in a Legion Rhino. Alpha Legion, fast attack choice, is a Legion Seeker squad. The sergeant has a power fist and a power dagger. The entire squad is equipped with combi plasma, and they are accompanied by a Legion apothecary with a power dagger. Alpha Legion, first heavy support choice, is a heavy support squad equipped with Volkite culverins. The sergeant has an augury scanner, and they are accompanied by a Legion apothecary with a power dagger. Alpha Legion, second heavy support choice, is a Deradeo dreadnought. It is equipped with twin-linked Anvilus pattern autocannons, twin-linked heavy bolters, 4 Boreas air defense missiles, and extra armor. Alpha Legion turn 1 movement phase. The Praetor and his attached assault squad have leapt over the top of the White Scars Praetor and his Golden Keshig, getting away from that gun line, moving back towards their own lines. In the backfield, we have the heavy Volkite culverins have stayed put, lining up some shots into that back line of the White Scars. The tactical squad have moved around to protect that Deradeo. It's obviously a high priority target for the White Scars, so they're giving it a degree of very thin protection, but it's better than none. Thin shield is better than no shield. The Deradeo has stayed put, and then the 3 Corsus Dreadnoughts and the Mortificator have pushed forward 6 inches, so they create more of a threat bubble with their charge range and also their assault cannons. Alpha Legion turn 1 shooting phase. The assault squad with Praetor have run 4 inches, moving back towards their deployment zone. The Corsus Dreadnoughts with the Mortificator have used their smoke launchers to apply a smoke screen in front of themselves. The Deradeo and the tactical squad are staying put, quite comfortable where they are in the backfield. And remaining to shoot, the Volkite culverins are lining up a shot on the javelin they can see in the backfield. Volkite Culverin squad, 4 of them could see the javelin in the backfield. They fired with 16 shots, hitting 12 times, causing an amazing 5 glances and 1 pen.
The javelin elected to jink and managed to save all but 1 of the glancing hits and also saved the penetrating hit, so the javelin is left on 1 hum point.
Alpha Legion, end of turn 1. Disappointing not to destroy that javelin with the limited amount of shooting that we achieved. Pleased that the assault squad has managed to make its way back towards my lines. Looking at that gun line for the coming up White Scars approach, interested to see where they end their turn 1. A lot of that will then dictate what we do next.
White Scars turn 1 movement. The parley with the Alpha Legion Praetor having broken down, the Khan has beat a hasty retreat with his Golden Keshig and is heading towards his own lines. We can then see that the plasma bikes on the right have pushed up along with the Sky Seekers and the Rhino. The large squad of bikes of 5 in the middle have moved to hold the centre ground, while the speeders have come into the centre to protect themselves from incoming fire. The bikes on the left have then switched around, just to move about really. Turn 1 shooting for the White Scars. The Praetor and the Golden Keshig have retreated back into their own lines by way of turbo boost, ready to redeploy in the coming turns. The Sky Slayer jet bike squadron, 4 of the plasma cannons could see the Volkite culverins. Some great rolls on the scatter means we've got 10 hits. Strength 7 against toughness 4, it's going to be 2s to wound, ignoring their armour with AP2, and then it'll be on to cover saves. That is 3 failed, that's 7 wounds.
So 7 wounds for the Volkite Culverin squad. First off, we have their 4-up cover save. Okay, so 4 failed cover saves. And on to their feel no pains from the apothecary. So 5 ups now. Ooh, 4 dead Volkite culverins. Pretty brutal.
Excellent shooting. Final action of White Scars turn 1. The Rhino has popped smoke on the right. No more turbo boosting, no more shooting. Now we need to see where the Alpha Legion come on from in outflanking.
Alpha Legion turned to movement phase. Amazing series of reserve rolls. Everything came in from reserve. We'll start off with the Plasma Seeker squad have come on in the backfield, lining up a shot on their preferred target, which is the Praetor with the Golden Keshig. The Tactical squad have come on with their Rhino, and they've snuck out and they're lining up a shot on the Sky Seekers, hoping that they can plink off some of that 3+ armor. The Interruptors have come on in front of the Plasma Bike squad, disappointed with what they did to the Culverins last time. We're going to see who has a bigger, better plasma gun this turn. The Praetor with his bodyguard has leapt back and is hiding away, true Alpha Legion style, in the bunker. The Volkite Culverins, a couple of them have reshuffled just to get a line of sight onto the front of that Rhino, maybe plink off a few hull points on the Rhino if they get a chance. Derideo, with his ablative tactical squad, has pushed forward 6 inches so he can put some of the fire downfield. And then the Mortificator, with his 3 Cortus Dreadnoughts, has decided now's the time to start charging up the table and is going route 1 up the middle. Alpha Legion turn 2 shooting. The Legion Tactical Squad rapid fired their bolters into the Sky Seeker Squad. 19 shots. The Sergeant only has a bolt pistol because he's carrying a fist. We hit 15 times and caused 5 wounds?
3 wounds, of which I passed 2 saves, so only 1 Sky Seeker dies.
The Rhino fired at the same Sky Seeker squad. 2 shots rapid fire, 2 hits, 1 wound, and
it was saved.
Shooting with the Legion Seeker squad with combi plasmas, they targeted the Warlord's unit, or their Warlord being the preferred enemy, so firing at the Golden Keshig and the Warlord, the Librarian, the Primus Medicae. They hit with 9 shots. 1 gets hot, which they managed to save on the armor save. Of the 9, they then did 9 wounds, rerolling those 1s with preferred enemy, really clutch there.
And then we had our 3+ Jinx save, followed by 5 up on the Primus Medicae, and it resulted in 3 Golden Keshig being killed.
Alpha Legion Interruptor squad firing at the jet bike squad with the plasmas. They rolled for their random number of shots. They got 1 plus 2 shots each, and 3 shots each, taking them up to 27 shots total for the unit of 9. They fired, they hit 17 times. They then caused 6 wounds with no cover saves, no armor saves available, wiping the squad. Alpha Legion heavy support squad with the Volkite Culverins. 2 of them moved round to get a shot onto that Rhino, so they were snap firing, fired 8 shots, didn't manage to hit, but the remaining 3 put 12 shots down. They hit a total of 9 times and caused an amazing 5 glances and 2 pens.
And yeah, didn't make enough cover saves, and Rhino is destroyed. It's a wreck.
Alpha Legion Derideo Dreadnought decided it's finally time to unleash on the White Scars. Looking downfield, the only unit he could see that was in range was the 5-man Scimitar Jetbike squad. He fired the Anvilus pattern autocannons to begin with. 4 shots, 4 hits, 3 wounds.
And then 1 failed the armor save.
And then decided to unleash the Boreas missiles onto the same squad, firing 4 missiles, hitting 4 times, causing 3 wounds with no saves available. End of the Alpha Legion shooting phase, some run moves. The tactical squad at the back with Derideo have decided that it's time to give him up and push forward. They ran forward 5 inches. The Mortificator and the Dreadnoughts push forward a mighty 6 inches on the run move, trying to engage with what's going on at the backfield. In the far distance, the Praetor and his squad have moved 5 inches deeper into cover, thinking about what they do next, but sitting pretty at the backfield. There were a couple of leadership checks at the back. The sergeant that remains from the Scimitar Jetbike Squadron, he passed, and also on the Sky Seeker squad, they also passed.
White Scars turn 2. Bit of luck with the reserve rolls. We've managed to get the Falcon's Claws and the Assault Squad on the same side. They're moving forward to threaten the Derideo. In the White Scars deployment zone, the jet bikes have used their mobility and have repositioned to engage the new Alpha Legion threats, closing the distance with the Javelin, the Golden Keshig, the various jet bike units, and the tactical squad who emergency disembarked from a Rhino are lining up a Fury of the Legion. The Stormseer tried to cast Psychic Shriek on the Alpha Legion Seekers. He successfully cast it on 1, but unfortunately it was denied by the Alpha Legion Seekers. He then tried to cast Prescience on his own unit and failed. White Scars turned to shooting phase. We started with the Javelin Land Speeder. Its Cyclone missile launcher and multi-melter killed 3 Alpha Legion Seekers. Next up in the White Scars shooting phase, we have the Legion Tactical Squad with Fury of the Legion. 38 shots using the assistance of the marker lights on the Sky Seeker Squadron and the Cyberhawk from the Praetor meant that we were hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. That meant 38 shots, 37 hits, 15 wounds, but when it came to the armour saves...
Yeah, unfortunately, armour saves, I only failed 4 armour saves and then managed to make 2 feel no pain, so only 2 dead Interruptors after all that.
Not what we wanted. The lone Sky Hunter Sergeant with Power Fist opens up on the Rhino with his heavy bolter, 3 hits, but causes no damage. Sky Hunter squad target the Alpha Legion Tactical Squad. The multi-melter vaporizes 1, and the heavy bolters manage to peel off 1 more. 3-man Sky Hunter Jetbike Squadron targets the Alpha Legion Tactical Squad with its heavy bolters. We managed to kill a further 2.
End of the White Scar shooting phase. 2 Alpha Legion units had to take morale checks. First was the Seeker Squad, having lost 3 of the unit. They passed the flying colours. Unfortunately, the Tactical Squad with the Vexilla failed twice and have run 6 inches back towards our board edge.
White Scars assault phase, we had 3 charges in total. The Sky Hunters Jetbike Squadron of 5 bikes charged into the fleeing Alpha Legion. They made their charge distance. The Alpha Legion promptly failed their roll to regroup, failed it again with their Vexia, once again rolling 10s, and then were consequently swept. The lone Sky Seeker Sergeant with Power Fist successfully charged the Alpha Legion Rhino. And then finally we had the Praetor and the Golden Keshig charging into the Alpha Legion Seeker Squad. Their overwatch was ineffective and the bikes made the charge distance. At the start of the combat between the Praetor with his Golden Keshig and the Seeker Squadron, Hammer of Wrath caused 1 wound on the Seekers, which was then unsaved. The Praetor issued a challenge which is accepted by the Alpha Legion's Apothecary. Hammer of Wrath was ineffectual against him, but now the Praetor gets to swing. Striking at initiative 10, the Golden Keshig with their Kontos Power Lancers managed to get 3 hits, 3 wounds, 1 of which is instant death, and the other 2, the Apo failed to save them, resulting in 3 dead Seekers. In the challenge, the Praetor rolled his 6 attacks, 5 hits, 5 wounds. The Alpha Legion rolled for their Feel No Pain, managing to pass 2, resulting in the dead Apo and 2 more dead Seekers, leaving the Sergeant with a Power Fist by himself. Striking at initiative 1, the Primus Medicae and the Stormseer hit with their power axes, absolutely decapitating, decimating, dismembering the Alpha Legion Sergeant, but he still gets to hit with his Power Fist.
Yeah, 3 attacks coming up. The Alpha Legion Sergeant, looking to get some last-minute revenge before he died, swings his fist, 3 attacks, hit once, wounded, and then caused 1 wound on the Primus Medicae.
After winning the combat, the Praetor's Golden Keshig consolidate a mighty 1 inch. Finally, the Sky Hunter Sergeant with the Power Fist slams into the Rhino. Hammer of Wrath is ineffectual. His Power Fist only connects the once, but strips a whole point off. End of White Scar's turn 2 was a bit of a ride with a very low start where the Interemptors managed to survive an awful lot of bolt shells, but we managed to pull it back in the assault phase with the Praetor, Golden Keshig and the Sky Hunter squadrons eliminating the Tactical Squad and the Seekers. Seems to be finely balanced as we move into turn 3.
Alpha Legion turn 3 movement phase. The Rhino decided to tank shock the Sergeant who'd had the temerity to hit it with a Power Fist, causing him to fail his leadership check and run towards the back of the board. Fortunately, he rolled an 11, so he's not quite off yet. Carried on, hit the next squad of Scimitar jet bikes who passed their leadership check and shuffled around that Rhino. Moving further down the field, the Interemptors have moved back slightly, keeping that tactical squad within range, but just shuffling back towards the Praetor, who with his assault squad has got behind the kind of big rock feature, giving them some obscurity, but getting a little bit closer so they can start to get involved in this game. No movement from the Volkite Culverins. The tactical squad who've abandoned the Derrideo are now kind of running up the field, trying to see if they can get involved. Derrideo has lined himself up a shot onto the assault squad and potentially the Falcon Claws. And then in the centre, the Mortificator and the 3 never-ending Dreadnoughts charge continues straight up the board. Alpha Legion turn 2 shooting phase. The Interemptors decided to line up a shot on the tactical squad. They rolled a 1 for their extra shots, so they fired a grand total of 14 shots. They hit 8 times and caused 2 dead tacticals. So pretty pathetic considering what they did last turn. The Volkite Heavy Sports Squad lined up a shot on the Sky Seekers at the back. They fired with a grand total of 20 shots. They hit 16 times and caused 12 wounds, which is pretty excellent.
Only 1 wound was unsaved.
Fortunately, though, that caused a deflagrate spillover onto the other Sky Seeker, who then promptly failed and was also destroyed. The Alpha Legion Deredeo lined up a shot on the White Scars Assault Squad that had come in last turn. Firing with the Anvilist Pattern Assault Cannons and the Heavy Bolters, it managed to cause a total of 6 wounds.
And then probably failed 2 armor saves, so 2 dead.
The Alpha Legion Rhino, having completed its tank shot in the shooting phase, decided to snap shoot at the tactical squad to try and cause that extra wound and force a morale check. Managed to hit with a twin link snapshot, but did fail to wound. End of the Alpha Legion shooting phase. The Mortificator and the Dreadnoughts have run a mighty 5 inches up the board, continuing to close that ground on the kind of mob of White Scars at the back of the board. The only other run move was the tactical squad and dead ground to the rear have pushed forward 4 inches and are getting closer to that cover. Alpha Legion Praetor, he and his squad have got behind the big rock feature, trying to hedge their bets as to where the White Scars are going to pop out. Alpha Legion, end of turn 3. A fairly cagey turn for the Alpha Legion. We're trying to turn the screw a little bit on the White Scars right now. Disappointed with the way the Interemptors dealt with the tactical squad. I was really expecting more there. Pleased with the continued progress of the Volkite Culverins. Getting rid of that squad of Sky Seekers was pretty big. The Deredeo's got a mission to try and chip off wounds in the backfield, but let's see what you can do over the next few turns. And really, it's beginning to hot up. Things are getting a little bit closer. The kind of highlight for me of that turn was definitely the Rhino pulling off the tank shock on the Sergeant. It's rare to see, but it's great when it comes off.
White Scars turn 3, movement phase. First Sky Hunter Squadron has moved around to the left, ready to go flat out in the shooting phase. The Golden Keshig with the Praetor has relocated into the middle, away from the Intertemptors, and also is going to attempt to go flat out in the shooting phase. Unfortunately, at the start of the turn, we saw the power fist wielding sergeant from one of the jet bike squads who'd been tank shocked. He fled the field of battle. We then have the tactical squad moving away from the Interemptors, and the jet bikes, the Kaisergan and the Javelin, preparing themselves to unload into the Interemptors, hopefully to wipe them out. In the Alpha Legion deployment zone, the Assault Marines career forward. Now assisted by a Cyberhawk, they'll be looking for an 8-inch rerollable charge in the assault phase, and the Falcon's Claws, poor fellas, they're still coming on, trying to do their best. At the start of the shooting phase, the Falcon's Claws have run 5 inches forward. Sky Hunter Squadron on the left goes flat out down the flank of the battlefield, ready to head into the backfield next turn. Here we have the Praetor and the Golden Keshig. They've also gone and turbo boosted into the left-hand corner of the White Scars deployment zone. 5-man Sky Hunter Jetbite Squadron, multi-melter misses, but the 4 heavy bolters managed to take down 2 Alpha Legion Interemptors, including the Sergeant. White Scars Kaisergan has managed to find its range, has targeted the Interemptors and has managed to take out 4 of them. The White Scars Javelin Landspeeder has targeted its Cyclone missile launcher on the Interemptors, and as you can see, they're all dead. That's the Apothecary and the last remaining killed by the missiles. White Scars assault phase. The Legion Tactical Squad have managed to make their charge into the Rhino and they hope to destroy it where the jet bikes failed. And then we can see deep in Alpha Legion territory, the White Scars assault squad have successfully charged the Deredeo with without the assistance of the Cyberhawk, which nonetheless was there. The Deredeo managed to score no hits or only 1 wound, which was saved on Overwatch. Combat between the White Scars Assault Squad and the Deredeo Dreadnought, a grand total of nothing was achieved. Deredeo scored 1 wound, which was saved. The Sergeant with his melter bomb missed. White Scars Tactical Squad, they managed to attach 3 crack grenades to it, which successfully penetrated and glanced the Rhino. It then became a wreck. End of White Scars turn 3. A successful turn on the whole, very pleased to get rid of the Interemptors. We now started to fan out, use some of our manoeuvring to encircle the Alpha Legion. It's going to be an interesting turn 4 though, once they get those Dreadnoughts and their Praetor and Assault Squad to bear.
Alpha Legion, turn 4 movement phase. The Contemptors have finally got in range to do something in the middle of the board. One of the unique traits that this unit has is that it can fire at 3 different units with the Dreadnought. So it lined up shots in as many units as I can see, the ones that are kind of high priority threats. In the backfield, it's been a bit of a switcheroo. The tactical squad has pulled back, sizing up which threat they want to deal with, Falcon's Claws or the assault squad. The Praetor and the Assault Squad have also come back to help out that Deredeo, and then the Volkite Culverins are staying put, lining up a shot onto the Falcon's Claws. Alpha Legion, turn 4 shooting phase. The first Contemptor Dreadnought fired at the Kyrgyzstan Speeder. It had jinked. I managed to hit it 5 times, but unfortunately caused 0 damage to it. The second Alpha Legion Contemptor fired at the Command Squad, managed to cause 4 hits, 1 rending hit, and 2 normal wounds, all of which were saved. The final squad, the Contemptor again, managed to cause 4 hits and 0 wounds this time. All of those units had jinked though, so some effect into the next turn. Final piece of shooting from the Mortificator himself, this time firing his Combi Plasma. It's a long-range snipe with the Combi Plasma into the squad that was trying to sneak around the flank. Hit once, wounded once, killed 1 bike. They went on to fail their morale check. The heavy Volkite squad at the back of the board lined up a difficult shot onto the Falcon's Claws. They fired 20 shots, they hit with 14, they caused 12 wounds. That went on to wipe the squad out. Alpha Legion, turn 4 assault phase. The Praetor and his assault squad he's attached to charged in to help the Deredeo and try and take down this assault squad. Alpha Legion Praetor issued a challenge to the White Scar Sergeant, who manfully stood up and was beheaded by the Praetor with his Paragon Blade, who then swept around and took down another 3 Assault Marines. Hitting next, the Apothecary took a stab with his Power Dagger, 2 hits because specialist weapon, hit twice and caused 1 wound at AP3, killing another Marine, who will get to swing back at initiative. Continuing at initiative step 4, 4 of the Alpha Legion with the chainswords and bolt pistols swung. They got 12 attacks on the charge. They hit with 8 and caused a total of 4 wounds.
Of those, 1 was unsaved. There were 2 White Scars Assault Marines with chainsaws to strike back. They hit only once, wounded, but it was saved. It's now on to the Deredeo and then initiative 1.
The Deredeo, last thing at initiative step 4, took a punt at the 1 remaining White Scar, managed to hit but failed to wound.
White Scars Assault Marine with a Power Axe, swing and a miss.
Final actions at initiative step 1, the Alpha Legion Sergeant took a swing with his Power Fist, 4 attacks, 3 hits, 1 wound only, but enough to slaughter that last White Scar. From there, the Deredeo and the Assault Squad have consolidated, really taking back control of our deployment zone. End of Alpha Legion turn 4. Pleased with how that went. At the beginning with the shooting from the Cortus Contemptors, I was a little disappointed, if I'm honest, about how much damage they were putting out. Good to force the Jinx onto those 3 units, kind of the main aim, but it would have been nice to do a little bit more damage. Really pleased that the Mortificator then managed to snipe out that one bike and force them, they forced them to take the morale check and fail. In the end zone, really took a tight grip of it. It was always going to be tough for the White Scars to hold on to that toehold. The Praetor just went in and cleaned house, and the Volkite's doing work once again.
Top of turn 4 for the White Scars. We've had some repositioning. The jet bikes on the left that fled last turn have rallied. The Golden Keshig with the Praetor have decided that they need to get stuck in with the Alpha Legion Praetor and are proceeding down the left. They're going to turbo boost to my shooting phase. Meanwhile, the Kaisergan, which jinked, the full strength squadron of Sky Hunters and the Javelin are going to try and get some melter weapons and some other shots onto those Contemptors, see if they can take off a hull point or 2, while the tactical squad advance to run interference. White Scar's shooting phase starts off with the Praetor and the Golden Keshig using their turbo boost to try and sweep around the flank. Staying as far away as they can from the Contemptor Cortuses, knowing that they'll double them out if they get into close combat. Combined firepower from the snap shooting Kaisergan, the Javelin and the Sky Hunter squadron managed to take off 2 hull points from the nearest Contemptor Dreadnought. Importantly, immobilising it too. It was lucky to make some of its invulnerable saves, or we might have seen it demise. End of turn 4 for the White Scars. Not a huge amount happened, mainly the repositioning, but very importantly, we've managed to remove one of the Dreadnoughts from the game through immobilising it, so it's not going to be able to get in combat with anybody.
Alpha Legion turn 5 movement phase, leaving that stranded Cortus Dreadnought that is mobilised in the centre behind. The Mortificator and the remaining 2 Dreadnoughts have pushed forward. One of them, the lead one, has decided to overcharge himself with rage. Over in my deployment zone, the Deredeo has pulled back, lining up a shot on the squad of scimitars that had previously broken. The tactical squad is acting as a bulwark against what is soon to be an onrushing Tregorian horde. The Praetor, showing his real zeal for fighting, has consolidated back within his little bunker, and then the Volkite squad, bereft of things to shoot at, have moved around to try and get a sneaky shot onto the Javelin. It's going to be snap firing because the squad had to move and there's only a few of them in line of sight. Alpha Legion turn 5 shooting phase. The Volkites, who had moved up, took 12 shots, 3 of them could see, into the Javelin in the rear, looking to plink off that last hull point. They fired 12 times, they hit once but failed to glance. The immobilised Corsus Dreadnought decided to snapfire his Kerry's cannon at the 1 hull point Javelin in the rear. Managed to hit with 1 shot but failed to glance. This then forced me with the Mortificator and his units to decide where I'm going to send my shots. The lead Contemptor decided to shoot through the troops and the remaining jet bike and Rhino to try and get that last hull point. Managed to get 6 shots on that, hit 3 times, 1 glance, and then crucially failed that cover save. So the Javelin is wrecked. The last Corsus Dreadnought firing at the Kyrgyzstan Speeder, firing at the front, so it's elected not to jink. Managed to hit it 3 times with the 6 shots, but failed to do any damage. Final shot from the man himself, the Mortificator, fires his bolt pistol at the tactical squad, marking them so that the rest of the squad can then charge him in the charge phase. The Anvilus Auscannon battery fired his 4 shots at the 2 remaining Scimitar jet bikes, managed to do a paltry 2 hits and 2 wounds, but both were saved. The Alpha Legion turn 5 charge phase, the Mortificator and his unit decided to take down the measly tactical squad. They charged successfully with 2 hammer rasts, causing wounds onto the unit as they charged in.
The wounds were unsaved, so 2 Space Marines died, and the Sergeant from the White Scars tactical squad issued a challenge to the Mortifactor,
which was accepted. In the challenge, the Mortificator swinging first at initiative 6 thanks to his Charnable Sabre, giving him +1 initiative and being base initiative 5. 5 attacks on the charge with the Sabre, hitting on 3s, managed to cause 2 wounds onto the Sergeant, one of which was rending, killing the Sergeant. The further wound was saved by the Tactical Marine. Alpha Legion Contemptors consolidate in, hitting at initiative step 4. They had 9 attacks on the charge. 1 was getting +2 thanks to having overcharged and given himself rage. Of those 9 attacks, they managed to hit with 7 of those and then caused 6 casualties for the Marines. The Contemptor Corsus that overcharged and gave himself rage both squashed the tactical squad but also did himself some damage, taking a glancing hit at the end of the round, which the Mortificator failed to save. End of Alpha Legion turn 5. Really, this was the story about the Dreadnoughts. They managed to do just what they needed to do. Disappointing not to do anything to the Kyrgyzstan Speeder. However, great to get rid of that final hull point on the Javelin and doing what they needed to do in terms of tearing the tactical squad to pieces. In the rear, disappointing that the Deredeo couldn't do more in terms of its shooting, but there's still a lot to play for. Watching this now fully charged unit from the White Scars on our flank.
White Scars turn 5. Movement phase. Having seen the Alpha Legion Praetor retreat in the most cowardly of fashion, the White Scars Khan has snorted in derision and has instead gone after the Alpha Legion Contemptors. He's hoping that with the assistance of his bikers and the Kaisergan still in the White Scars deployment zone, they'll be able to end the threat of the 3 Contemptors once and for all. White Scar's psychic phase, the Stormseer successfully manifests Psychic Shriek against the Alpha Legion tactical squad. However, they deny the power. Clearly there is trouble in the warp around the Chondak system. White Scar's shooting phase, the Praetor and the Golden Keshig. Only the Praetor has a ranged weapon capable of hurting the stricken Contemptor Dreadnought. The Praetor looses volley of shots with his Relic Heavy Bolter and successfully glances it to death, scoring 1 hull point. Kaiser Gan, the Assault Speeder, opens up into the 2 Contemptor Dreadnoughts and successfully manages to strip off 2 hull points, wrecking one of the Dreadnoughts that suffered damage from rage in the previous turn. 5-man Sky Hunter Jetbike Squadron unloads into the Contemptor Dreadnoughts. Multi-Melter unfortunately misses, but the Heavy Bolters score 3 glancing hits, 2 of which are saved by the Mortar Factor. Remaining 2 Sky Hunter jet bikes in this squadron also target the side armour of the Contemptor. They score 1 glancing hit, which is saved by the Mortar Factor. End of turn 5 for the White Scars. We really needed to destroy all 3 Contemptors. We came close, but no cigar, the Mortar Factor proving his worth, providing them with invulnerable saves. It's now going to go to turn 6, and we'll have to see what's left standing at the end.
6th and final turn, limited amount of movement from the Alpha Legion in the backfield. They have continued their heroic retreat from the White Scars command squad with the Golden Keshig and the Warlord and Librarian. Daredeo pulling back and the tactical squad pulling back. Really, this is a story about what's going on up front. That surviving Cortus Dreadnought and the Mortificator are lining up probably a multi-charge on the remaining bike squad and the Kyrgyzstan Speeder. The Heavy Volkite squad, doing their last round of shooting, fired at the Golden Keshig. 1 man had to move, so he was snap firing and didn't manage to hit. The remaining 4 managed to fire their 16 shots, put about 8 hits down and caused 5 wounds, which the bikes then proceeded to lose 1 bike, saving the remainder. The Daredeo deciding that the only valid target was to fire at the remaining 2 Scimitar jet bikes, given he couldn't really scratch the Praetor. Hit with 4 shots, caused 4 wounds, but all were saved. The Mortificator and the 1 remaining Cortus Dreadnought decided to split their shots. The Mortificator firing his bolt pistol into the jet bike squad, hit but caused no wounds. The Dreadnought fired his Carrier's assault cannon into the side armour of the Kyrgyzstan Speeder. Managed to hit 4 times, only caused 1 glance, but that was unsaved. Turn 6, assault phase. The Kyrgyzstan Speeder and the Scimitar jet bikes. I really wanted to get after both, so I've declared a multi-charge with the Mortificator and the Kyrgyzstan. They've charged in. The only thing that could really do any damage in Overwatch was the multi-melta, which missed. The Mortificator issued a challenge, given that the rest of that Scimitar squad did want to get involved in the fight as well. The sergeant has heroically taken a knee on this one and is letting his men take on the Mortificator. The Hammer of Wrath is going to go into the Kyrgyzstan Speeder. The Cortus Dreadnought running into the side of that Kyrgyzstan Speeder hits with a Hammer of Wrath, failed to do anything with the Hammer of Wrath, really had to then push it with the 3 attacks, doesn't get the extra one for the charge, so it's 3 attacks base, hit with 1, but that was enough because at strength 10 it was enough to at least glance, manage the pen in the end, which immobilized and destroyed the Kyrgyzstan Speeder. Hitting at initiative step 6, the Mortificator swung in, only getting 4 attacks on the charge this time because of the multi-charge, managed to get 3 hits, only 1 of which rended, but that was enough to take down 1of the bikes.
White Scars get to strike back. They realise that they've got melter bombs, proceed to strap 3 of them to the Contemptor Dreadnought, manage to secure 2 penetrating hits. Mortar Factor tries to save them, fails, and the Contemptor Dreadnought is destroyed. Nobody dies in the ensuing explosion.
Final action of this round of combat, the Mortificator swings at initiative step 1 with his servo arm, managed to hit, but unfortunately failed to wound. The Mortificator actually lost combat by 1 there because the penetrating hits in close combat count for 2 for close combat resolution. Managed to kill 1 of the bikes and destroy the Kyrgyzstan with a pen, so that was 3 for me. But with the 2 penetrating hits of the melter bombs, that led up to 4 wounds caused by the White Scars, leading to them to win by 1. The ensuing morale check was passed, so the Mortificator stayed put, but the White Scars...
using the hit and run granted to the jet bikes by the Tugorian Brotherhood right of war, successfully hit and ran, opening up the Mortificator to be shot by the rest of the army. The White Scars jet bikes hit and ran, and they managed to move 11 inches.
The Mortificator also consolidating now that the White Scars have hit and run is going to move 5 inches and drop into some cover. End of turn 6 for the Alpha Legion. It was a tough round there. Not much damage done from the back side of the field with the shooting. Only one of the Golden Keshig dying to the Volkites. The good news was that Dreadnought charging in and tearing the Kyrgyzstan Speeder to pieces. Unfortunately, the Mortificator didn't manage to do quite as much damage as I was hoping to the squad of bikes, who in turn then tore up the Dreadnought with their melta bombs. Looking pretty vulnerable there now that he's got a line of bikes with some pretty punchy guns ready to hose him down.
White Scars turn 6 movement. It's simply a matter of killing the Mortifactor. So we've got the remaining bikes, the Praetor and the Golden Keshig, going after him with their heavy bolters and the one multi-melter. Hopefully there's enough fire to do it. Meanwhile, the Stormseer, determined to make his psychic powers count, is going after the Alpha Legion tactical squad in an effort to psychic shriek them off the table. White Scar's psychic phase. Stormseer finally manages to manifest Psychic Shriek, casts it successfully against the Alpha Legion tactical squad, also perils in the process, manages to cause 5 wounds, and causes himself a wound from the feedback from perils of the warp. The Alpha Legion pass their leadership test and remain in the game. Turn 6, White Scars shooting. The jet bike Skyhunter squadron, wanting to avenge their falling comrades, unloaded their full arsenal into the Mortifactor. Heavy bolters bounced harmlessly off his armour, but the multi-melter cut straight through to the core, and that's 1 dead Mortifactor. End of turn 6 for the White Scars. Threw absolutely everything we could at trying to claw back some victory points in that last turn by killing as much as we could. Very pleased the Mortifactor's on, but now we need to top the victory points up, and we'll get back to you with the results.
6 full turns of White Scars Alpha Legion action, and that was wild.
It certainly was.
Yeah, took my breath away. What can I say?
Holy hell, there was a ton of movement. I can't believe how far those dreadnoughts made it up into the White Scars.
Yeah, it was always kind of part of the game plan. It was just like keep boxing them in, just keep moving up, and eventually they're going to have to make a run for it.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get taken down by these guys in close combat. So that forced your hand kind of towards the end of the game.
But also tons of movement from the White Scars. Those bikes are really superior, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in one turn I was bunched up in the middle, then we spread out across the whole length of my deployment zone, then we had units going down the flank and then back again. And yeah.
Certainly got some superiority with their movement. The game, despite casualties all over on both sides, the results are really, really tight. So I will start with Alpha Legions. You went first. So you both had to kill each other's warlord, which you didn't manage either. There's not a lot of contact between those 2 units, was there?
There wasn't. It was this cat and mouse game of like, well, whoever kind of exposes themselves first is going to get hit hard, and neither of us were kind of willing to put ourselves in the middle, rightly so, to get hosed down. And I was hoping there was going to be this opportunity where there was an exposed squad or something they could go after. Other than the assault squad, there wasn't that much opportunity for my assault squad to go out into the open and leave themselves exposed. But
when they did just step out, they caused some damage and then came back again, didn't they?
They went back in their bunker.
It was good. So for a surviving warlord in the game, there was 3 points awarded to that player. So you both scored 3 points because your warlords are still alive. However, at the very last turn of the game, the White Scars picked the Alpha Legion for an extra victory points for last man standing because you killed the Mortificator, didn't you?
I know. I mean, that was a hell of a couple of turns of shooting and assault to try and get rid of all 3 dreadnoughts and then the Mortificator. But to do it on the last turn with a multi-melter in some style was pretty special.
Yeah, so that one last victory point, one of the rules of this mission is that whoever has the most units standing at the end, not how many units have been killed, just who's got the most units standing, wins an extra victory point.
Yeah.
I think what I was hoping for in turn 1 was there's also points up for grabs for just taking any units off the game. So that shows just how swingy that one javelin on that one hull point was.
Both came really close.
Really close,
didn't you?
Yeah.
It would have definitely turned the tide, or at least made a draw. There were some really spectacular things for this. Lots of sweeping movements from the White Scars. The Alpha Legion did absolutely what they do, and they outflanked, caused some damage. Those Interruptors were really, really good. Locked down that flank, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, the Interruptors, that hard kind of counter to bikes, as you saw with the Plasma Squad when they came on, it's just, even not firing their maximum amount of shots that they could pull off, they just delete that squad. A little bit disappointed with the follow-up, but equally was surprised.
Two Tactical Marines.
Two Tactical Marines, yeah, that's a slightly worse outcome, but frankly I was amazed they were still there. I think there's such a high priority threat, and they just became this anchor around which you had to kind of rotate, because you knew they were there, they knew what they could do to the bikes, so for a couple of turns they kept you kettled up.
And I think the Volkite in particular as well commanded the entire channel down that side of the board.
Yeah, it wasn't something I saw at the start. I thought was going to happen at the start of the game. I was just looking for somewhere to kind of put them that they might have some line of sight, and actually that kind of three-way line of sight across the board just meant that they consistently had something to shoot at.
Sat there on Overwatch waiting for some jetpacks to speed by, and then they just unload.
And they do work. They just it's volume of shots.
Yeah. And Phil, you did a fantastic job. I didn't think that wall of dreadnoughts was going to fall, but you did it though, didn't you? No,
I think my plan was largely to ignore it.
Yeah.
Hopefully to go round and then just to sort stuff out in the backfield and just kind of ignore the dreadnoughts. But that just never really happened. And they just got closer and closer, as Colin said. And then they're in your face and you're like, well, I've got to deal with them now.
Yeah.
And the problem was that by that stage in the game, I didn't have the units to go round and then have enough models there to then threaten everything in the backfield. Because I think if my Golden Keshik squad had gotten into combat with the tactical squad or the assault squad, we'd have been away and we'd have had a Praetor off. But to get there, they were going to have to take a lot of shots.
Yeah.
And I wasn't convinced they were going to survive. And then if you turn up in dribs and drabs, then you're done for. But yeah, killing the dreadnoughts was amazing.
Once you got into that side arc, you really kind of hammered them home after that, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely. And the tactical squad moved forward as bait.
Yeah.
And the bait promptly worked.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it was this knowing that killed those kill points, but deleting units was important at that stage in the game. It was like, it could be a tactical squad, it could be the Golden Keshik. It's something that needs to die.
They needed to earn their keep, didn't they?
They did.
Because up to that stage, what have they done?
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the more fun units for me in the game was the Humble Rhino, which Tank Shock is a lesser seen tactic in the game, but in that instance, it paid off big time.
Particularly when you're tank shocking someone who runs away 3d6.
Yeah, exactly.
With a power
close to his board edge. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So in who comes off best out of Rhino and Power Fist, we know the answer, and it's Rhino.
That's very true. Now, I really enjoyed that game. It was really thrilling. Two really fluffy armies. Chondax is the kind of the setting we were in, and we've got these two opposite forces facing off each other. So it was really cool. And visually as well, I think it was really great. You've got the beautiful white, as I said, against the kind of metallic blue. So I think all the colours work together really well. So it was a very visually stunning game. So thank you so much for both your efforts.
And thank you, Dave, for, I think, a brilliant table as well.
Oh, good.
So it fitted the theme perfectly. Lots of room for the armies to manoeuvre, and for my bikes in particular to take advantage, I think, of the space to
and
move.
one of the real knacks of this board as well was making sure there were places that the troops could go and get some cover and hide, and there were plenty of little spots for them to snuggle into and force the bikes to come a bit closer, and you saw that play out throughout the game.
Yeah, and I think maybe what viewers don't realise is just the level of the relief, the topography of the map with all of the hills.
It's hard to show that actually on camera.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you can't get a straight line across or widthways of the board, which is quite cool. I'm going to name this one Pride Rock version 2. We did a Pride Rock game it was like Pride Rock with some Alpha Legion and Spaceballs, I think it was, and now we've got it Mark II. It's a little smaller version, but it's quite cool. Now, if we want to follow you fine gents and your lovely armies, where can we find you?
Yeah, Instagram mainly. So I am Al_Omegon on Instagram. You can find me there.
Fantastic, Phil.
I've only got Instagram for my social media, and it is at Black Ark Miniatures.
Great stuff. And obviously you can follow the channel at 30k channel. But we've got some more discussion. Blood Bowl, talk to me about that.
Indeed.
Yeah, so as you can tell from the t-shirts, we're both also, our second hobby, big fans of Blood Bowl and play in a league in London, the DBL. It's we don't take ourselves too seriously, and it's a lot of fun. And actually, it's been a real boon for Heresy players recently. In lockdown, we've seen sort of 15 members of the Blood Bowl community have migrated to Heresy.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. So a big shout out to all of the Dragon Ball League Heresy players. We'll see you at Bad Moon Cafe tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got some games planned for tomorrow, haven't you?
We do, yeah. And then with events-wise, I've been running events for the Capital Heresy. Managed a couple before lockdown. We had one just before lockdown, one that got canned, obviously. But yeah, excited to get back into the Bad Moon Cafe and do more events once things release.
And there's also with the London Wargaming Guild as well.
Yeah,
which is our kind of parent club in London. And the Heresy scene in London is booming.
Yeah,
good.
Painting.
And now everyone's back to playing games. There can only be more. And hopefully, if we're really lucky and we've been really good boys and girls this year, we might get a plastic box set. Who knows?
Plastic Thunderhawk. You heard it here, not first.
Maybe a Jagger Khan.
There you go. Yeah.
Who knows? All right, what a thrilling day. I really hope you've enjoyed this. Gents, thank you so much for your game today. I really enjoyed it.
Pleasure. No, thank you
so much.
Good stuff. All right, and I will see you in the next one.